everybody, it's Liz here. I thought I would do something that was going around YouTube a really long time ago, way back when I joined YouTube, which is maybe around 2011, but change it up, make it EDS related. If you want to copy this and use it if you have your own channel, or even if you want to do it on Facebook or post it anywhere, feel free to use the questions. Just please credit me because I've created these questions, or like hashtag the Potsie zebra, because then I know that it's just kind, just to or you can change them up or whatever, but if you use the exact same questions, that's all. The 20 questions, EDS based, none of them personal. Like, I'll do another one another time, like 20 questions of my life in general, my favorite things. So I'm going to kick off with number 1. What year were you diagnosed with EDS? That would be 2009. In fact, it was January 2009, if you want to get really, really precise. I can't give you the actual date, just January 2009. Number 2, what type of EDS do you have? I have HEDS, which is the hypermobility EDS. As hopefully many of you know, the criteria changed last April, so the types that have numbers, except for the rarer ones, I think, don't exist anymore. So type 3, type 4, all those, that doesn't mean anything anymore. So doctors who still diagnose with those types, with the numbers, are not up to date, and there's a different criteria, so you may not fall into one you think you might, or you might get misdiagnosed with the wrong one. Who knows? But I have HEDS, and I was originally diagnosed before the criteria as type 3. So I've just switched over. Number 3, how old were you when you were diagnosed? Well, I would have been 26. Or was I? No, I was 25, turning 26 that year. So, because it was in January 2009, I turned 26 in the August of that year. So I was 25. Yeah, seems quite a common age, mid-20s, to be diagnosed. Number 4, what comorbidities of EDS do you have? Now, I have a lot, but I can go through them quick, and most of you watching who have EDS will know them. If you don't know what they are, put a comment on this video and I will tell you, because if you have EDS and you think, oh, that sounds something like I might have, you can look it up, because most of these I found along the way. In fact, I've got POTS, which actually was diagnosed before EDS, and later in the questions I'll tell you why. I've got gastroparesis, that was 2010. I've got costochondritis, that was 2010. I have got gastroesophageal reflux disease, also 2010. I have got anemia. I have got vitamin D deficiency. I have got asthma, which I've had all my life. But that's quite common in EDS. I have got just been diagnosed with Sjogren's syndrome. I have got urge incontinence as well. I have sciatica. I have spondylolisthesis, which is the slip disc bit. I have mast cell activation disorder. I have histamine intolerance. And I have nodular prurigo, which is a skin condition, which you can't really see because I'm all covered up. But it is rare and it's nothing to do with EDS, I don't think. But because my skin doesn't heal very well because of EDS, it makes this condition worse. So Google it. I will... it's NODULAR, and then the second word is PRURIGO. There you go. Number 5. Does anyone in your family have EDS? Well, possibly. I was adopted, but I met my birth family many years ago, and I'm in contact with some of them still. My half-brother, I believe, does have it, but he hasn't been officially diagnosed, but he dislocates, has all the symptoms, as do my aunties and uncles and cousins. Potentially, I know that some have been misdiagnosed, I would say, with osteoarthritis and things like that, because where I used to live and where they now live, the hospital that's nearest is horrific for EDS. I know, me included, they've all had bad experiences at getting understood and people know what EDS is. So yes, people in my family do have the symptoms, but they don't have the diagnosis. That's just me. Number 6, what is the worst symptom of EDS? Pain. Simple. I think everyone would say that. There's loads of other things that are almost on equal par, but pain is the worst because it never goes away, no matter what you do and what you take, even when you're asleep. So there you go. Number 7, who diagnosed your EDS and where? Dr. Kaz diagnosed me at UCH in London. I got diagnosed because, as I mentioned earlier, my POTS was the first symptoms, even though the EDS was there with the symptoms, but I didn't know. I just thought, I've always had that, so it's nothing new. And separately, Professor Matthias diagnosed me in 2008 with POTS after lots of tests and said that he thought, because he knew about EDS as well, that I looked and sounded like I had EDS, so he referred me over to UCH. It was to Professor Graham's clinic, but I saw Dr. Kaz, who is still equally as good, and I have seen Professor Graham once and then saw her, and that's who diagnosed me. Number 8, what is your current treatment for EDS? Okay, so I have a few. I have physio. I have a physio that I've had at the moment. I have had at my local hospital. She's amazing. She knows about EDS and POTS. She knew before I've even met her, but she's read up on it since I've been seeing her for about 2 or 3 years. And usually I don't have it regularly, like you can make an appointment and get seen quite quickly. But if I have an injury, we usually focus on one joint at a time, not EDS in general, because I did the inpatient program at Stanmore, so I don't need to learn how to manage my EDS. I know day to day that, but physio, at the moment we're working on my shoulder, which I think has finally gone back. It's been subluxed for many weeks and trapping my calcified lump that I've got there and my nerves, and it's been painful. But the physio I've been doing at home has made it better. We were working on my hip, so who knows what we're working on next. But I do little exercises every day to keep my body from being too deconditioned, even though I'm just not well at the moment, as you know. Pain relief wise, I just take paracetamol. I used to be on a whole concoction of morphine, oxynorm, oxycodone. I used to take Butrans patches, or wear them, not take them. But none of those. They just made me like a zombie, and I was a hormonal mess. I was moody, grumpy. I was like all of those things, and it didn't actually get me out of pain. So I stopped taking them with the advice of my doctor over time, and yeah, better without. I dabble with CBD oil when I get really bad, but I haven't needed that for a while now. And I go to the pain clinic at my local hospital, the other local hospital, and they are good with just keeping me on a level. If I'm in pain, they give me advice. I also have steroid injections into my spine. I have a prolapsed slip disc right in my lumbar spine, and it is so painful that I can't actually sit for long. So I have to sit sideways like I am now. I'm sitting with my legs tucked with my cat, who is cuddled there. She's like, yes, I'm here. Yeah, I have to sit to the side. But I have those once a year, or once every year. But I had it in February, and now it's starting to wear off. So I need it again. They were going to try and do denervation, but that is not advisable in EDS, according to my doctors. So, okay, I rambled too much with that. Number 9, when were you diagnosed? When you were diagnosed, what was lacking in the aftercare? Support for just everything, like emotionally, socially, Like, you're just told, oh, this is what you've got, this is the treatment, or some people aren't even told that, and then you're left. And it was the same for most of my other comorbidities, but EDS especially. At the time, I was just like left. And I really do think that they should at least have, say, a leaflet for EDS UK, you know, the charity, Ehlers Danlos Support UK, and or the also the Ehlers Danlos Society. They have leaflets, and also have information on all the Facebook groups that are available, because back when I was diagnosed, Facebook existed, but there were no support groups and nobody was talking about it. And I didn't know anyone with EDS, and it was only through an American YouTube channel that I found people who had POTS who just so happened to have EDS, and through them eventually I met people in the UK. And there was just no links. There were no like community meetups or social groups or support groups that I run. So yeah, there was a huge lack of the doctors realizing that you need support for yourself, for your family, for your friends. Yeah, there was nothing. So number 10, what is the best thing that's come out of having EDS? A lot of you might think, well, there are no best things, but there is. For me, it's the friends I've made. When you get EDS, some people, me definitely, lose a lot of friends because they don't want to understand, they don't want to hang around, they don't want to be around someone who's sick, cancelling on you all the time. They don't have the patience to learn what's wrong with you or anything. And through Facebook groups and support groups and meetups and the EDS UK charity, I have made some amazing friends and friends for life who understand my EDS. We can moan to each other about EDS, but we also don't just talk about illness all the time. We have a lot of things in common, interests, just loads of stuff. And these are people I know who will not just, if I'm having a bad day, just be like, oh, I'm not talking to you. They will always be the ones that comment on my Facebook status. They'll always be the ones who message me. And that is invaluable. So definitely. Number 11. Do you use any mobility aids? Yes. I am I'd say 90% of the time, wheelchair user. I don't tend to use my wheelchair too much around my bungalow because it's tiny. I can actually show you. My current view, there's my cat tree. And there's the kitchen in there with my perching stool, and then there's the door to the hallway, and then there's a bedroom through the spare room, but that's got the piano and the train set. The bathroom's that way, and our bedroom's that way, and the front door is that way. So it's tiny, this place. So it doesn't have much room. And when I did move into this place, I actually did say I use a wheelchair, but it's fine. It can fit round. On my really, really bad days where I can't walk at all, or if I've got an injury, I need it inside. But outside, I use it all the time because I fall a lot. My POTS is really, really bad. And at the moment, my stomach is so bad, I'm just feeling sick a lot and just don't want to move. And I also use crutches. I don't have smart crutches, just normal crutches. I customise them myself. They're black and white stripes. It's actually duct tape, but it's zebra print duct tape, and then Hobbycraft sell it. So I just kind of adapted my crutches to make them look less clinical and boring. And I use those if I'm going somewhere I know I can't take my wheelchair. So for example, my parents' house, there's no point taking my wheelchair because I can't get in the house. So I will take my crutches so that when I go from the car to the house, I don't fall over. And other places like that. Number 12, which are your most problematic joints? My biggest joints, my most problematic, my shoulders, mostly my right, because I've got a calcified lump in the rotator cuff. My hips, my left hip is being looked at the moment. I've had a CT scan and the cartilage is wearing, it's got wear and tear. I was born with one leg longer than the other and always had problems with my hips. My feet, their metatarsal muscle bone thing dislocates every day. And my knees and my ankles. Everything. Just everything. No, my knees give out. My ankles give out a lot. My knees and ankles are the most joint injuries I've had. Like I've torn muscles, tissues, tendons, and all sorts multiple times in those. So all the big joints. Number 13, best advice you've been given about EDS. I would definitely say there's two things really. One, for EDSs, it's not a competition. I find this a lot where people talk about their EDS and others feel that they're worse off, and even if they are, it's not very nice for other people to feel like that. It's just not. If you spend time with EDS people, I find that you find so much common ground, but you do get to the stage where if someone says, well, I have POTS, and someone says, well, I have POTS too, and they go, well, I just can't move, I'm just like terrible, and the other person isn't as bad, but they feel they have to say, well, I had this terrible turn, and I was like, and it literally goes on, and I've had this in social situations. It's not a competition. Zebras, that's why we're zebras. Everybody is unique. Everyone has their own symptoms, their own level of good and bad and all that. And best advice also is live your best life. I mean, we are given a really rough card when dealt to us when we have EDS, and it's rubbish and horrible and all that, but the more you wallow, the worse it is. And for me, I had to quit my job in London. I had to move back with my parents. I had to give up all my freedom. I had to just give up so much. And there's so much what I've wanted to do. I wanted to travel more. I wanted to work, do a different job and all this. But if I hadn't moved back and I hadn't made that decision, I wouldn't have let my body rest. I wouldn't have met my husband. I always say things happen for a reason, however bad they may seem. So just live your best life. Well, like even now, I have been sick, as you know, with my gastro issues for months, but it doesn't let me stop me. I have been doing things I enjoy from home as best as I can, and just don't let it stop you. So if you are bedbound and you are, at the wit's end, think of things that you love to do that you can do in bed. Like if you like a particular TV program, order a box set, get it delivered to your house, watch it. If you like colouring, like the colouring books for adults, they're amazing. But you think, oh, my hands will hurt because I can't colour. There's things you can adapt. There's special coloured pencils out there for people with EDS. Like I've got them. Work your way around it. Don't think of the things you can't do. Think of the things you can do, basically. So there you go. Number 14, do you do anything for EDS awareness? Yes. Number 1, I volunteer for EDS UK support. I am an AC, which is area coordinator for St Neots, where I live, and I run a support group, and there are there's about 70 odd support groups around the UK, people with EDS. Let me know if you don't know about it, and I will tell you where your nearest one is. I fundraise. One year I dressed up in a zebra onesie, painted my face like a zebra, and sat in my high street, which is a pretty brutal place, dressed as a zebra in my wheelchair with an EDS collection box, and raised about £100 for EDS UK. I also have loads of awareness month, which was earlier May this year. Every day I posted the Ehlers-Danlos Society's fact or myth every day. I have a YouTube channel, which is the Potsie Zebra, and I'm starting podcasts next week, which is really exciting. The Potsie Zebra podcasts, which will be, I'm still working out how to do it, but they'll be on iTunes hopefully, and the Podbean, if you know what the Podbean is. And I'll be talking to lots of different people on that. I have a Zebra Gift Hub UK Facebook page, which promotes all products that are zebra print or zebra related, which I just do for fun. I have a Twitter account, which is the Potsie Zebra, which was promoting awareness. I have what else? I co-run UK Potsies, which is a support group for people with POTS, with my friend Tara, who was the co-founder of that. What else for EDS awareness do I do? Just talk about it. Like, just make people listen to me until they're bored. Right, number 15. What's your worst experience of having EDS? Lack of understanding from friends and family. That's the worst, because doctors, yes, they can be annoying. They come and go and you can be like, whatever, I don't have to see you again. But friends and family has been my hardest thing. Originally, my family was really not understanding, especially like close family. And that really hurt me, because I thought if it was the other way around, I would do everything I could to learn about what was wrong with them, how it affected them, how I could help them, fundraise for them, donate for them. But no one did anything for me at all, until later on in my progression of it, more recent years. And I lost a lot of friends. They just gave up on me. They just didn't want to know. And that hurt me so deeply. And the only way I got through that was with CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, to make me kind of accept it, move on, understand why they were like that, and how to not let it affect me mentally. And that massively helped me. So number 16, what specialist just for EDS do you have? I have a rheumatologist, which is at Stanmore. I have a pain management kind of doctor who is an anaesthetist, and he does my steroid injections in my back. I have a physiotherapist, who, like I mentioned earlier, I've had for years. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Just 3. 17. Worst thing you've been told by a doctor post EDS diagnosis. There's so many. Worst thing. I think because the other one that I'm thinking of was POTS related. This is EDS related. I went to A&E with my shoulder, actually, which was about 2-3 years ago. And the doctor I originally saw, because I had to go many times about it, they didn't believe that I had it. Eventually, I was in a sling and everything for 6 weeks. But originally, the doctor I saw was quite a young doctor. And I said, about how my shoulders have always been bad, but this has now got worse. And he was like, oh, it must be your condition. And I said, do you know much about it? He said, oh, I've had a Google and, usual story. And he told me that it would help me if I go to the gym and lift weights. I mean, really, seriously, I made a complaint and he now doesn't work there. Don't know if it's because of my complaint, but to tell somebody that, luckily I know that would be terrible. But if someone newly diagnosed took that advice, you could do some serious damage, because you have to know for your condition and for your type of thing. Like my shoulder, the worst thing I could do was lift weights, because I'd probably end up needing an operation and then my shoulder would never ever recover. But I just needed physio and rest. And he told me to lift weights, which I thought was hilarious, considering I can't get out my wheelchair to lift weights because of my back. It would cause problems with my back, my POTS, everything. And he told me to lift weights. I've been told other worse things, but that was specific for my EDS. So, number 18. What do you wish people would understand about EDS? That it isn't visible all the time. It's like even my family now still think that. There's one member of family, I'm not going to name and shame because they don't watch this channel, but I just won't. But if I've been really unwell, they know that, and then we've gone there for a meal or something, and I've dressed up a bit and maybe put a bit of makeup on, they go, you look so much better. And I'm thinking, really? Just don't even makeup and dressing, not being in your pajamas all the time, you tend to look better. Really? Oh my gosh, I wish people would understand that EDS, not everyone uses a wheelchair and crutches. And, the gastro symptoms that you can't see unless you've got a tube, obviously. Headaches or costochondritis, you can't see EDS. It's not like a massive flashing sign saying my collagen is faulty, my connective tissue is all stretchy, I have EDS. That. Number 19, what are your favourite support groups for EDS? There are a few. There's not loads actually. My favourite support groups are EDS UK, Support UK. They are amazing. They have been my crutch all along, which is why I now volunteer for them. I'd say the Ehlers-Danlos Society, which is an American-based one, but Laura Bloom, who used to basically be the most amazing person for EDS UK. She's still amazing, but she doesn't work for EDS UK anymore. She now spearheads Ehlers-Danlos Society. They have loads of great information and are doing conferences around the world and doing awareness. And they've had a donation of $1 million for research into finally, hopefully, looking into the gene that is responsible for EDS. So there might be hope. So there's those two, and then I find that I follow basically on Instagram and Twitter. I just tend to follow people I know with EDS because there's so many out there, and it's so overwhelming, and I don't always want to see like just doom and gloom because it tends to be a lot. You don't tend to hear a lot of EDS positive stories. I think EDS UK, that's the name of this Facebook group, it's nothing to do with the charity, is really good because it's got a lot of people on. But for me, being diagnosed so long, you get a lot of newbies, and I get really fed up with just the same questions over and over again. When you do have a search function there, if you put what your question is, it will come up. But and yeah, that's literally probably it. And obviously the EDS UK South East and East of England groups, because I admin them. Yeah, that's it. And number 20, what do you hope for the future of EDS? I think this is everyone's answer. A cure. The thing is, it's bittersweet really, because if they do find a cure for anyone who already has EDS, the cure won't really be possible for them, because if they find the gene that's responsible for EDS, I don't know whether that means that with gene therapy you can reverse whatever's wrong with the gene or replace the gene with the right gene or what it is, or whether if people go on to have children, whether you can take some kind of medication to stop passing on the EDS gene. That's the only way EDS is cured, because obviously people who have EDS and who are not, some people obviously pass on their EDS, their children are going to have it and they'll pass it on to their children, and there's a never-ending cycle, and you almost need to stop production of EDS children, which is really, that might be a controversial thing for me to say, but I want kids myself, but I'm in this constant loop of what if I pass on my EDS, because then my child will have potentially the same issues I'm having now, and I would never wish that on anyone. So a cure for EDS, like if you were diagnosed, it would never like get rid of your EDS diagnosis, but if someone could find the gene, give you a tablet that suppresses everything, like they're supposed to be doing, I think with MS, they found some kind of magic cure, but that's going to take a few years because, again, funding, testing, trials and all that. But if they can find something that basically reverses the faulty collagen and basically changes our faulty collagen back into normal collagen, that would be amazing, because it means you'd be out of pain, your dislocations would stop, you potentially all your comorbidities could stop. That would be my dream. And I also want more awareness still, because there's never enough. Never. I mean, I've been diagnosed 10 years next year. We're coming up to 10 years actually this January. But for me, it's shocking how many doctors and specialists and nurses and everyone just does not know what EDS is when so many people have it. So that is my hope. So I hope you've enjoyed the 20 questions. Like I said again, if you want to use it yourself, feel free. Just tag me in it. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned and click the picture of me on the screen right now. And you can subscribe to my channel. Please like the video and click the bell notification if you want to know when my next videos are put onto YouTube. there should be a box on the screen where you can see other videos I've done. Happy watching!